where the moon lights.
An excellent day for an exorcism.
I'm your number one fan.
Hey up and welcome back to Rate Scary, the horror podcast where we discuss all things that are rate scary. And I am your host, Zara, otherwise known as Scary Zara Mary. And I've got a fantastic episode lined up today. I'm not going to lie. This is another episode as part of my torture series. And I've got a guest joining me, a lovely guest called Soph, otherwise known online as anotherhorrorgal. And we are going to be talking all things Wolf Creek. So I love the film Wolf Creek. I love the sequel. I haven't got around to watching the TV show yet. I thought I was a fan. Soph is another level. Like, she is an enormous Wolf Creek fan. Absolutely loves Mick. And we get into some detail about that. We are going to predominantly talk about Wolf Creek, the first film, but naturally we discuss the sequel, we discuss the TV series, we discuss all things John Jarratt. Like, we get into a lot of detail, we have a lot of fun. But I thought what I would do, first of all, before I introduce you to Soph, is I will take us through the story.
Let's play.
Set in 1999, we have two British tourists, Liz Hunter and Christy Earle, and they are backpacking across Australia with Ben Mitchell, who is an Australian friend of theirs. Ben buys a dilapidated car for their journey from Broome to Cairns, Queensland via the Great Northern Highway, and the trio decide that they want to make a stop at Wolf Creek National Park, mainly because this is the site of a meteor crash. They visit the site, and then hours later when they return to the car, they discover that their watches have stopped and the car will not start. After dark, a man named Mick Taylor comes across them and offers to tow them to his camp to repair the car free of charge. The group goes with him to an abandoned mining site several hours south of Wolf Creek. Mick regales them with tall stories of his past while making a show of fixing their car for them, and he then gives the group water, which causes them to fall unconscious. We then see Liz waking up, gagged and tied in a shed, but she manages to break free and hears Mick torturing Christy in a garage, and it is implied that Mick has sexually assaulted her. As a distraction, Liz sets the now dismantled car on fire and goes to help Christy. But when Mick returns, she shoots him with his rifle, the bullet hitting him in the neck. Both Christy and Liz attempt to flee in Mick's ute, but Mick stumbles out of the garage and shoots at them before giving chase. The women manage to evade him by pushing his ute off a cliff before returning to the site to get another car. Liz leaves hysterical Christy outside, telling her to escape on foot if Liz doesn't return in 5 minutes, and Liz enters another garage and discovers Mick's huge stock of cars and travellers' possessions, including video cameras. She watches the playback on one of them and is horrified to see Mick helping, but not really helping, other travellers stranded at Wolf Creek. So clearly this is something he has done time and time again. She gets into a car, but Mick appears in the back seat and stabs her with a Bowie knife. Liz crawls out and he hacks 3 of her fingers off, then severs her spinal cord, paralysing her. He interrogates her as to Christy's whereabouts, but by dawn Christy has reached the highway and is discovered by a passing motorist. He attempts to help her, but he is shot dead by Mick with a hunting rifle. Mick gives chase, prompting Christy to take off in the dead man's car. Christy sideswipes Mick's car into a ditch when he pulls up alongside and begins to get away, but Mick emerges and shoots out her back tyre, causing her in turn to drive into a ditch and rolling the car, and she attempts to crawl away, but she is shot dead. Mick scoops up her body and bundles it into the car, along with the dead motorist, and he tortures the car. We then cut to Ben, so we've been wondering where he is this entire time, and he wakes up nailed to a mock crucifix in the mine shaft. And he manages to extract himself and enters the camp in early daylight. He escapes into the outback but becomes dehydrated and passes out beside a dirt road. He is then discovered by a Swedish couple who take him to Kalbarri, where he is airlifted to a hospital. We then get a series of title cards stating that despite several police searches, no trace of Liz or Christy has ever been found. And early investigations into the case were disorganized, hampered by confusion over the location of the crimes, a lack of physical evidence, and the alleged unreliability of the only witness. After 4 months in police custody, Ben was cleared of suspicion, and the film ends with Mick walking into the sunset with his rifle.
What the bloody hell are you mob doing out here? Scared the shit out of me.
Hi, Soph. Welcome
Hi.
to the Rate Scary podcast. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
I am very excited for you to be on the podcast because I know for a fact you are an enormous Wolf Creek fan. Is that correct?
Just like a little bit,
Just like a tiny bit.
just a tiny little bit.
Do you want to tell people who you are? Like, I don't want to turn this into blind date and do a Cilla Black, but
So
like,
here's my name and location.
Yeah.
So I'm Sophie. I'm also known as Another Horror Gal on Instagram and all of my social platforms. I think I started my account like a couple of years ago after going to For the Love of Horror and just getting a good vibe from everybody.
yeah.
My favourite horror film is Wolf Creek, hence why I'm here today. I also did like all the Screams, Halloween, big Jamie Lee Curtis fan. And yeah, I
Love
just do
it.
a lot of cosplays when I dare to, and that's it.
Fantastic cosplays. I have to say, for anyone listening, go and follow Soph because your content is gorgeous.
Thank
I was
you,
saying to you
that's really
before we started
kind.
recording, but yeah, it's stunning to look at. I went onto your profile to remind myself of your username. I think it was yesterday, and I was just looking at one photo where you've got the lighter and you're holding.
yeah.
That's like my
Thank
favorite
you so
picture
much.
ever.
Thank you.
You're so cool.
Thank you. It's very few and far between. I don't make a lot of content because I have to like think of things in my brain. But when I do, I'm proud of what I put out there.
I relate hard, so
Yeah.
don't worry about that. But definitely people go and follow Soph, and especially because you are an enormous Wolf Creek fan.
I did
Talk-
make this in homage to the
Ah,
husband. The husband.
the
being Mick
husband.
Taylor, obviously.
When did you first watch Wolf Creek?
Oh, well, it's a funny story. So when I was younger, I used to watch all the bad things that you shouldn't watch. So I think I saw it when I was like, probably when it first came out, I was maybe like 7, 8.
Yeah,
Good parenting from my mum there.
well done, Mum and Dad.
And I remember the first time I watched it, obviously because I was so young, it terrified me because I genuinely thought it was real. Because obviously you get the whole message at the end where it's like, he's still out there. And I was like, well, I'm fucking never... Sorry, am I allowed to swear?
Yeah. We're from Yorkshire, love. In case anyone hasn't guessed at this point, Soph is from the same place.
Yes, I was like, I'm never going to Australia ever again. And then I rewatched it again in like 2015, and I was like, oh, I think I fancy him a bit actually. Suddenly, he's not that scary anymore. And it all just spiraled
God.
from there. And then I went and met him in 2015, and then my love just blossomed from there.
Bloomed and grew.
And then obviously the series came out, and it was just a lot of content for me to absorb. It was a good time.
Dig your teeth into. I've got a couple before we start getting into the details of your love for Mick and your love for the film as a whole. Couple of questions for you, and I know you said you've done your research, so I think you know what I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
But first of all, it's called the Rate Scary podcast for a reason.
Yeah.
What is the film that scared you the most?
I forgot about this question. I should have been prepared.
Ah!
Lights Out scared me a little bit, just because.
Ooh, good choice.
It's like it's the dark in it. You can't escape it. There's
Yeah.
no way to escape it. Nightmare on Elm Street used to scare me because what are you gonna do when you're asleep? There's not much you can
Yeah.
do. And a lot of paranormal stuff scares me because it's like, at least if it's a slasher killer, you can attempt to fight back, but how the
Yeah.
fuck are you gonna fight a ghost?
So yeah, something that you can't see,
Yeah.
like paranormal activity, some ghost that's going to come
Yeah.
and grab you out of bed.
Yeah, like
No, thanks.
what I've got no, I can't fight back. So
No, I'm terrified of the dark, so I
Yeah.
relate to that massively.
Yeah.
Okay. Second question then. This might be the one that you prepared for. What are you?
Have you
What?
read me?
Yeah. What have you had, or what are you having for your tea?
Well, it sounds so Yorkshire. I've been thinking about chips and gravy literally since last week.
Ugh,
So I think I'm going to have chips and gravy. It's going to be like a
I'm
reward.
so jealous. I'm so jealous. Chips and gravy is just the ultimate tea.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, just over anything else. Is it chippy chips or is it home chips?
It's going to be home chips in the air fryer. I might even put cheese on top. I might go wild.
Cheesy chips with gravy.
Oh, yeah.
Solid choice. In fact, I'd go as far as saying Best answer I've had on the podcast
Thank
so
you.
far.
It's because I'm Yorkshire though, babes. We get each other.
Yeah, we get it. And now I want cheesy chips with
Do it,
gravy for my
babes.
tea.
Do it.
Sometimes even I'll go a bit filthier and I'll put it in a butty.
That's wild. That sounds like something I might have to do tonight.
Listen, thank me later.
I will do, babes. I'll send you a picture that you were.
Right, enough for cheesy chips in a butty. Wolf Creek. Talk to me about your love for it. Tell me things.
The thing is with Wolf Creek, I think it's made in such a different way because I don't think I've ever watched a film before where you spend the first 50 minutes getting to know the characters, which I think is such an interesting way to do things. So you can watch horror films and it's like people who die in the first 3 minutes and I don't really care about them. Whereas with Wolf Creek, you have this whole 50 minutes where you're getting to know these 3 characters that are just on the travels in this a bit of a love triangle. And it just goes completely wrong. And when things bad start happening to them, it's like, oh shit, I actually care about these people. And it's like I'm sad when things are happening to them. And I also like with Wolf Creek that it completely throws you off where you think it's like an alien film to start with.
Yes, with Ben talking about the lights in the sky.
All the watches stopping and stuff. And then Mick Taylor comes along and you don't really think about it. And then you're like, oh shit, he's just drugged them all. And that's where we go downhill from there.
And been there the whole time as well, tailing him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's one of my favourite parts. I don't know if we'll get to that later, but it's the fact you can see his truck like in the first 10 minutes.
See, I need to do this. So I rewatched Wolf Creek recently. I watched it for the first ever time when I was at sixth form. So I would have been 17.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't have long come out.
Yeah.
And it was because I studied media. So my media teacher was like, right, you're all going to sit down and shut up and watch this film because you will love it. And he was right. And I've probably only watched it maybe 3 times since then. Yeah. It's something that I always love whenever I watch it, but it's just not something I would actively choose to put on because it affects me.
Oh, yeah, I get that completely.
And I rewatched it last weekend, I think it was, ahead of doing this episode, just to jog my memory. Yeah. I totally forgot the fact that Mick is always there in the background, so I didn't look out for him. So now I'm going to have to go back and rewatch it and look out for Mick in his truck.
It's wild.
Nutter.
I know.
Absolute
I love
nutter.
him, though. I love how committed he is. We love a committed king. We love him.
Well, come on then. Let's talk about your husband, Mick.
I don't know why I like him so much. I don't know what my issue is. I think the reason I think he makes such a good killer is that if it wasn't for the murder, I think I could like go down the pub and have a pint with him because it's just like a fun time. But then when he completely changes, he just snaps into a different person and then he becomes so terrifying. I think that's what I love about him. And like John Gerard, when he was filming, he basically like lived in the outback for like 6 months. Didn't wash, didn't talk to anyone on set, just like completely committed to this role. And then apparently just after they finished the final scene, John just sat in his chair and just went and just went back
and came out of it.
Yeah. And I just think that's so cool.
You've met him. You've met John in real life. How because I've seen video clips of him because he's been at For the Love of Horror before, the horror convention in the UK. How different is he to his character of Mick? He
has these moments where he's like he goes into character and stuff, but he's completely different. He's like one of the nicest people you'll ever meet, and that's why I think it's so funny that he can go to someone so scary when he's basically just like this cute little old man.
He is cute. I picked up on that.
I'm not gonna lie, he's a bit of a lech. He'll say some things to some girls, and I'm like, well, let's just calm it down, John. But other than that, he's
steady on, fella.
Steady on.
But I picked up on the fact of rewatching Wolf Creek this time. I noticed how cute he is when he's smiling. Like just his little 2 front teeth sticking out at the front. Like
I know, I love him.
And I was like, oh, I feel like I'd forgotten that side of Mick, that he can just have a little giggle and be quite warm and sweet.
He's like a nice guy when he's not, making people heads on sticks and stuff.
Head on a stick.
Head on a stick.
I love him. I love him so much. And I love that he does that flip into the sinister side of him.
Yeah.
Because, so, question for you. If you were trapped in Mick's lair, steady, don't get too excited. He's menacing Mick right now. Do you think you'd be able to escape his clutches?
Yes, I've seduced him and become his partner in crime.
There we go. You'd be fine.
Obviously.
Would you do a bit like the sequel? Like we'll come on to the sequel.
Yeah. I would. Yeah.
You'd seduce him almost.
Yeah. I'd be like, I can be your little wife, and I can bring them in, and then you do what you need to do and murder and stuff, and then
you do the fun bit.
Yeah, we'll just go to a pub after, and I'll just. I don't know if I wasn't, obsessed with him in that way. I don't think I could escape because I think I'd give up already. I'd just be like, just make it quick, lad. Just get it over with.
And the thing, again, like rewatching it this time, I'd kind of forgotten how Mick killed the girls and other people that we see in the film. And just this sense of helplessness.
Yeah.
That even if you manage to get away, which we see, he's still got his sniper rifle. Yeah. He's still going to get you. He's not letting you out of his sights. No. And I loved the fact about the film, like all these scenes with the people that he's killing, there's spliced into them pictures and clips of like kangaroos, and where he's talking about, oh yeah, I used to hunt roos and stuff. It's just reminding you that he's just seeing these people as prey. That's all it is. It's vermin. A game.
You vermin.
Yeah, vermin. He's wanting to rid the world of vermin in the same way.
And even if you do escape him and, he doesn't catch up with you in his car and his sniper rifle, you then have the whole issue that you're in the middle of the outback with nowhere to go. What are you going to do? So even if he doesn't get you, the outback will.
Yeah, completely. So you just fucked. Just
Either
let
way.
him have you.
Yeah. Oh, I
so
would.
You might as... Yeah, I know you would.
I need to just calm it down, Jesus.
Well, you just, for anyone who's watching on YouTube, you might have spied on Soph's arm.
Oh, God, it makes me look like
a
crazy person.
Let's see. A tattoo of Mick himself. That is so stunning.
It is really cool.
When did you get that done?
That's the eye from the front of the DVD, and then his truck's there. I don't know if you can better see it properly.
Oh, shit, yeah.
And then, like, the craters here and stuff.
That is incredible. And you said you've got a statue, like a figurine of him as well.
It's one of they did like a limited edition run, I think, when the second film came out, and it cost me a pretty penny, but
I bet
he stands tall in my living room, and I've got a replica of his knife downstairs as well. So when people come in, they're like, "What's going on here? Why is there a massive Bowie knife on your side?" I'm like, I don't know.
Listen, sit down and let me tell you about the love of my life.
Have you got 90 minutes to sit and watch this film?
Just force them to watch it.
It's how you get to come into my house. It's you just got to watch the film first.
It's the same for me with The Exorcist. Anyone who says that they haven't seen The Exorcist, I'm like, right, sit down and shut the fuck up because I'm going to tell you some things. All right.
What you playing with? Sit down now.
Some of the characters that we've got in the film, quite a limited cast actually in Wolf Creek, really, when you boil it down, apart from some people that we see kind of in gas stations and stuff. We've obviously talked about Mick. Let's talk about the trio that we've got. So we've got Ben, Liz and Christy.
Yeah.
So Ben's an Aussie. Does he say he's from Sydney?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Liz and Christy, British backpackers, and they've formed this trio. What do you think of the dynamic that those three have together?
Like I said, I think it's interesting that you get a whole hour to get to know them and stuff. There's definitely characters I prefer more than other characters out of the three of them.
Go on.
I'm not a massive fan of Christy, I can't lie. She gets a bit, but
fair.
It always happens in horror films that I watch. I also find it interesting that the two British backpackers were actually played by Australian actresses.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Could
really?
you not ventured out casting and actually got some British people? I'd have done it if I wasn't 7.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But yeah, I prefer Ben and Liz a lot more. I'm not a huge fan of the whole love triangle story because I think it's just a bit but...
Well, it is just a bit strange. I tried putting myself in the shoes of, is it Christy?
Yeah.
Just how would I feel if I was backpacking with my best friend and then suddenly she's met a guy who she fancies and then suddenly I'm third wheeling? I'd be fucked off.
Yeah.
Majorly fucked off.
Well, in the extended version, there's actually a scene where Christy wakes up in bed with him.
Oh!
So you're like, what? Whoa, hang on a minute. And it completely
So is he
dynamic.
Diddling both of them
I think
then?
so, but then he's also telling them both he's got a girlfriend, so it's It's just a classic male, honestly. Like, what are you doing?
Ben must be absolutely riddled
Literally.
at this point.
Especially
How many
in
girls is he doing this
I
to?
know, especially in like the early 2000s, for sure.
Oh, 100%. Some of those
100%.
parties.
I know.
Yeah, gross.
Wild.
Okay, well, right. Well, fuck Ben. I quite liked him before. I liked him as well in one of my favourite guilty pleasure films, Snakes on a Plane.
Oh, of course. What a film.
Yeah, I think, but I do prefer him in Wolf Creek, to be fair.
I don't think I've seen him in much other things apart from that.
No.
Snakes on a Plane. He did like a skit with the Raka Raka brothers, you know, who do Talk to Me.
Yes.
He did like a promo with them for Wolf Creek season 2, but I don't think I've seen him in much else.
No, I tried looking at his IMDb and there was nothing on there that I really recognised, which I think is a shame because I thought overall, I mean, clearly the acting is way better than I thought. The fact that our 2 British backpackers are actually Aussies, like I'm even more impressed with the acting now than I was. So, and I think it's like you talked about the fact that that first kind of hour is just getting to know your cast.
Yeah.
And I think they do a brilliant job of that, of making you care for them.
Yeah.
But also, I think because of how likable Mick is as a villain, you end up kind of rooting for him as well at the same time. A little
bit, yeah, which is wild. I think it puts your moral compass into play a little bit when you're watching it because you're like, who am I actually rooting for here? It's
what's the situation?
Yeah, it's a very strange watch for sure.
It's always going to be Mick. It's got to be.
I mean, I don't know.
Well, and I think that's down to like great writing.
Yeah.
For all of the characters. It was Greg McLean, wasn't it? The director that did the writing as well. And he did
pretty sure, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he did the second film as well and the TV series.
He definitely did the second film. I'm pretty sure he did season 1 and 2, but I don't think he's doing 3. I think he's just a producer on 3.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you about that. Like, do you know the reason why he isn't doing the directing?
I don't know if it's because his career's just like popped off a bit. He seems to be doing like so much stuff now that maybe he's just gone, let me hand the reins over to someone. I mean, it'll be interesting to see though, like a different take from someone else.
Well, especially because when did the TV series come out? Is it 2017? The second series. Yeah. So we're talking quite a while now, like 8 years. It might be time for someone to do a fresh take on it. And like you say, Greg McLean seems really busy because I went and clicked on his IMDb just to have a nosy at what is the guy doing now. If he's not doing Wolf Creek 3, what's he up to? And I saw that he's got 2 horrors that he's working on at the moment.
Yeah, I think he did a TV series as well that I think John actually mentioned it, the Full of Horror in 2023. I think it's like a Yellowstone or a Gold. I can't remember what it's called, but it's something like cowboy in the outback that apparently is taken off quite well. But there was meant to be a season 3 after 2017, and then things went down where they couldn't do it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, while we're talking about it then, so talk to me about the sequel then. So we've got Wolf Creek 2. Obviously, Wolf Creek, the first one, low budget.
Yeah.
Was it like $1.5 million?
Yeah.
Took barely any time to actually film it. Huge success.
Yeah.
So then obviously we need a sequel. We need to see Mick back on our screens and we get Wolf Creek 2.
Yeah.
Which do you prefer out of the 2 films, first and second?
Definitely the first one, just because the second one does that thing, like I said, where it's like, I don't know, the second one just feels much more like Hollywood-y, and I don't really like the main character in the second one. He annoys me.
Is this the guy, Paul?
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why, he just annoys me.
Is there? I think we've got about the same amount of kills in Wolf Creek too, because sometimes that happens with the sequel where they amp up the kills in the sequel because they're like, oh yeah, that's what the audiences want. But I feel like they did the right thing with Wolf Creek 2, where it stayed at about the same number of people. Like you get a couple of the police officers at the beginning.
We get obviously the opening kill, which is very different. But I understand why they've done that, because now, if you've seen the first one, you know who he is as a killer, and you don't want to spoil that if you've not seen it. But it's good that they put that opening kill in there. Like, I'm back.
It. Yeah. Hope you didn't forget about me. You're not gonna after this film.
No.
Well, I love the first one over the second one. I think the thing that I enjoy about the second one, I like that's the scenes between Paul and Mick. So like that whole game that they play.
Yeah, like the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire one. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, about like Aussie culture and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think out of the entire thing, you'll have to clue me up a bit on the TV series because I only watched half of it, but that torture scene where he grinds his finger sticks in my brain. It has done ever since I watched it. Just freaks me out. I think like stuff with fingers freaks me out.
Yeah, same. Yeah,
and I think that's why I like that film as well. So
I do really like that scene. And I like that again. Like I like that the whole film is just Mick basically chasing his prey. We obviously get the iconic 18-wheeler kangaroo scene where he's listening to In the Jungle and just running all the kangaroos over whilst the guy's in his little sad jeep.
Like a fucking maniac.
Yeah, and then there's obviously the bit a bit closer to the beginning when he kills those two people in the tents.
Yes.
That was a bit aggressive.
Was that the German couple?
Yeah, so I don't know what words we're allowed to say. He beheads the first guy, doesn't he?
Yes. Yeah, or you can say whatever you want. Crack on.
So he beheads the guy, and then obviously tries to essay the lady, and then it's all a lot. And then she runs out into the road, gets picked up by him, and then Mick accidentally shoots her. So that's why he's running after the guy throughout the rest of the film, because he's like, you made me kill my girlfriend.
I wanted to play with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which it just gives you such an insight into Mick's psyche and how demented he is, that's his logic in that moment.
It's like, how dare you take away this woman that I was definitely going to like abuse? How dare you?
Yeah. Now I'm going to fuck you up, basically.
Literally. There's one line that will stick with me forever when he's got Paul down in his little basement and he's like, you took away my plaything, and then he's like, I could soon turn you into a woman, and then like gets his knife and like puts it here, and I'm like, whoa, Mick, let's just calm it down, lad, chill out, come on now.
Let's just dial it down tiny bit.
Let's just have a breather, do some meditating.
Yeah,
come on now.
we went up to 11 for a second there.
Real quick.
Yeah. Well, so TV series then. So I admit I watched like half of the first series because there's only like 6 or 7 episodes in each season, isn't there? So it's not long. I think I just got completely distracted and started watching something else because it came out in 2016. It was probably like Game of Thrones or something.
Probably,
so I need to go back to it and watch the TV series.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that then. What do you like about the TV series?
See, I have a really unpopular opinion because I think season 2 of the series is better than both films and season 1 of the show.
Oh, okay. How come?
I don't really want to say too much, obviously, if you've not seen it and stuff, but it's like he's taking on like his biggest kill ever. So the whole premise is like he's following this coach full of tourists, and there's a bit where the bus driver comes in to get like a can of Coke or whatever and fill up, and he starts talking to Mick, and he's like, "Oh, I could do that job," and then the guy offends him, and Mick's like, "Go fuck yourself." And then he stands outside the gas station and counts them all as they get back into the bus, and he's like, 13, my lucky number. And then that's just it, like he's ready to go, like, and it's cool that he's just taken on like his biggest like prey, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And like a lot of the kills in it are like pretty good and creative. I don't know why I like it so much.
I've added it to my watch list to go back and watch it. Like doing this episode kind of reminded me that it existed. And I did a video not so long ago on TikTok, I think it was, like talking about how like Mick is one of the greatest horror villains we have ever seen, in my opinion. And loads of people commented about how fantastic the TV series is. So again, that just reminded me that I need to go back and rewatch it.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I really, really liked season 1. It was like a completely different kind of energy from like the first 2 films. It was cool how they did it in like that opening scene where he kills that family, and that's the whole premise of the series, was like unreal. I just found it a little bit slow, and he's not really in a lot of it, which is obviously an issue for me. He only pops up, he's not in a lot of it. It's more like focused on the main girl. But the first series was really good. The final episode of the first series is freaking amazing. Like the last scene, really good.
Right.
But yeah, season 2 is would definitely be my pick, I think, out of the 2 seasons.
right, I'm going to finish watching The Last of Us, and then I'm going to go straight into
Sounds
Wolf
like
Creek
a plan.
TV
Do it.
show. Yeah, I've got it lined
I
up.
can't wait to hear what you think of it for sure.
What's your thoughts on this threequel, Wolf Creek 3, that we've got coming out then? What would you want from
it? Obviously, because I was expecting season 3 of the show, and they had like a bit of a storyline for what that was going to be. I'm not too sure what to expect from a third film, because I don't know if they're going to follow where season 2 left off, or if it's going to be a completely different entity itself. I quite like the synopsis of it. I think it's cool that it's like he's like the aging predator, and he's having to go up against these two whippersnappers, and it might be is he finally met his match where he's like, shit, I'm old now. I'm old and grey, and I don't know how much longer I can do this.
I feel like they probably do need to lean into that, because he is getting on a little bit now. As wonderful as he is, he's been doing this for quite some time. Like, when did the first film come out? Like
2006?
Yeah, so
2003 it might have been, actually.
Geez, so over 20 years he's been doing this, playing this character. I know he's done loads of other films. But to play that one character for that amount of time, we've kind of got to see Mick age at the same rate, haven't we? And expect the same things from him. So maybe that is the situation that they want to put him in to kind of test his ability and his agility, both mentally and physically, in that sort of a situation.
Well, from what I've read for the synopsis, that's basically what it is like they call him like the aging predator, and it's like, has he finally met his match and all this stuff? But yeah, I think if I see anything from the third one, that's what I'd love to see, because I'd love to see him in a situation where it's like, oh, actually, I'm not as quick-witted, and I'm not as, physically capable of doing like what I used to do 20 years ago. And I think it'll be so interesting to see how that pans out.
Agree, because I think so. Like, some of the themes that I pick out of Wolf Creek as a whole, like rather than just isolating the first film, is this, well, obviously survival and like human resilience, but also isolation and vulnerability. Like, we've got these people in these situations with Mick where they are exceptionally vulnerable, and I just think having a third film where Mick's in that situation flips it on his head a little bit, and now actually it's testing Mick's resilience, it's testing his vulnerability, and how is he going to get out of some of these situations himself? Maybe
it's like they're putting him in the prey shoes for once, which I think will be so interesting.
Definitely. But at the end of the day, at least we get Mick back on our screens, which is what everyone wants.
It's very true, but it's like Greg McLean always said, this is something that happens at the end of... I'm trying not to spoil it for you if you've not seen it, but there's something that happens at the end of the first season. And Greg McLean's like, evil never dies. Evil never dies. So it's like, when it keeps coming back, it's like, are we ever going to get rid of him? Probably not, because evil never dies.
Good. We don't ever want to get rid of him.
Good for us, bad for the backpackers of the Outback.
Well, let's just keep him doing it for as long as possible. If Robert Englund is still showing up to conventions and signing stuff as Freddy Krueger, I don't see why we can't have John being Mick for as long as insanely possible, because he clearly enjoys it. The videos I've seen of him going absolutely nuts at conventions, he clearly loves the franchise, he loves the character, and he loves the passion and love that the fans have for it as well, which is nice, isn't it? Because some actors get a bit sick of the attention they get.
Yeah, like they don't want to be pigeonholed, whereas he's like, I am Mick. Mick is
listen.
I am Mick, The funniest thing is about that, though, I've got one of my best friends lives in Australia, and I texted her the other day because I was like, I need a bit of insight from you, because obviously when he got cast as Mick Taylor, he was actually like one of Australia's like biggest like family friendly presenters on TV.
Oh, really?
So,
okay.
So him and his wife used to present something called Better Homes and Gardens, which was like on in the middle of the day. It was very family friendly. They were just like telling you how to do up your house, and he used to have like a kids album and all this stuff. And then my friend told me that when he got cast, her mum was like, "This is the scariest thing I've ever seen," just because it's gone from this wholesome man who is well known across Australia for being like this wholesome family-friendly guy, to him now, there's adverts on the television where he's murdering people in the Outback, and it was like apparently this massive like culture shock, because John Durrat's gone from like one of the most lovable people in just households to this guy who now is playing this guy who murders people.
I love that context.
Same.
Like we would never experience that because we would have never have had access to him as that person on TV. So like my first experience of him was as Mick.
Yeah.
So that's all I've ever really known him as. So to know that'd be like getting Alan Titchmarsh.
Yeah, I was trying to that's exactly how I was trying to think of something that would be the same for us. It would be like Alan Titchmarsh.
Or like Lawrence Llewellyn Bowen and being like,
and just
he's going to be a serial killer now.
Guy, and then, or one of the CBeebies presenters going from presenting that to like being a murderer on a
like
film.
Neil Buchanan from Art Attack.
Yeah,
suddenly
it was wild, absolutely wild. But yeah, my friend's mum still won't watch it because she's like, no, I want to remember him from Better Homes and Gardens, not from.
No, she does not need to spoil that for herself. That'd be like
trailers that she was terrified because he's gone from this little wholesome little man to like doing that.
I never knew that. That is fascinating. That just makes me love it even more, though. The fact that Greg McLean and the casting director have made that active choice to go with someone who is well known, well loved,
which is wild to me. They wrote it for him. So how has Greg McLean sat and watched Better Homes and Gardens and gone, "That's who
he's a maniac.
That's who I want to get to stab people in the spine for sure."
Clearly, it worked.
Yeah,
like maybe he just needs to be a casting director these days, Greg McLean, because he's clearly got an eye for it. So,
but yeah, I thought that was wild. I just thought I'd give you that little bit of info.
I love that. Have you got any other like little nuggets of things that people should know about Wolf Creek, or if not, if you were going to get people to watch Wolf Creek who haven't before, what would you be saying to them?
Oh, that's a loaded question. Tidbits I can't really think of like off the top of my head. If I was trying to sell it to someone again, it'd just be like it's how would I like say this correctly? I think it's very much like any other horror film you'll have seen. A lot of people, it obviously depends what you're into when it comes to horror, because some people find it a bit boring that you've got an hour of content that's just nothing really scary happens. It's just you're just getting to know your characters. But that's one of the main reasons I love it so much, because I think that's such a unique way to do a horror film, to be like, we're going to make you care about these people, and then we're going to take them away in the most like disgusting way possible, and the most horrendous things are going to happen to them, and you're going to care for them. And it's like it was definitely a shocking thing to watch, I think, when I first watched it. So if that's what you're into, guys, there you go.
Well, and it could be the right time of year to put Wolf Creek on, because it's definitely like Aussie horror just hits different, I think, as well.
Yeah.
It's so sweaty and grimy and gritty, and it's just got like this realism to it. And I think it'd be the perfect film to put on this summer.
Yeah,
get it on your laptop in the garden. Get your sunnies on, sunning yourself in your back garden, stick Wolf Creek on, and feel the heat as Mick lures you in.
Oh, God, you should have wrote the tagline, baby. That was amazing.
There you go. If anyone hasn't watched Wolf Creek yet, hopefully between you and I and our dulcet Yorkshire tones, it'll have convinced them to watch it by now.
I hope so. It's funny how Yorkshire we sound. I love it.
I know. You are definitely coming on again. Absolutely. Do you want to remind people where they can find you online? Come and stalk you.
Well, funnily enough, there's a John Jarratt film called Stalk Her. Maybe we should talk about that one time.
I'll get it on the list.
My name is Another Horror Gal on all of my platforms, basically. And yeah, you can find me there. I do TikToks and cosplays and all that good stuff. Yeah.
All the best stuff. Gorgeous stuff. You are totally underselling yourself. No, genuinely. Please do go and follow Soph, because the content you post is stunning. You need to do more of it. I'm going to be your hype girl. I'll be like, come on, Soph.
Literally, I'm going to need you as a little reminder in my pocket. Should we have a little guest star before we go?
Yes. Oh, yeah, guest appearance.
This is our little Ripley.
Oh.
Say hi to the babies.
Hi, Ripley.
She's like, why have you just woken me up? Say, go watch Wolf Creek.
Go watch Wolf Creek. Ripley says so.
She's like, no, go put me down.
See, this is one of the things that you and I bonded over, the fact that you've got a little pooper called Ripley, and I've got a little cat called Ripley as well. It were meant to be, love.
Meant to be.
Well, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. Like I said, people go and follow Soph because you are missing out if you're not already. And if you want to follow Rate Scary anywhere, then it's at Rate Scary on YouTube and Instagram, and at Scary Zara Mary on pretty much every other platform going. I'm not going to list them all because I started doing that and it's just ridiculous.
She's everywhere, guys.
I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere, like Mick Taylor in the background lurking.
Nice. That was a good callback. Love that.
But otherwise, I'll see you with you soon. I'll see you soon.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare.
I'll be right back.
Game over. It's all for you.
Beware the moonlights.
An excellent day for an exorcism.
I'm your number one fan.